Hi everyone, my name is Palvisha and I'm here with my teammates to introduce Carp, which is the app that we worked on over the last month. I'm going into my 4th year of physics at York University and will be graduating in 2021. My teammates are
So my name is Cynthia, and I'm a rising senior in Stuyvesant High School in New York City.
And I'm Vivian Wang, and I'm also a rising senior in Placentia, California. And I'm in my school's International Baccalaureate program and Valencia Technology program.
and our mentor was Eric.
So we're all in the same boat right now. We're all in quarantine, and we realize that there really is an inability or like a lack of resources to take control over our mental and our physical health. And we've noticed that during quarantine, there really is like a lot of burnout, doing the same thing over and over again every single day. And exercise is also kind of pushed to the side a little bit when we have so many other things that might seem more important than exercise. And there is also the idea of sleep deprivation, since I'm sure we're all facing the same Netflix late night binge watching. And other factors that may affect our mental and physical health include not being able to maintain a healthy diet, and also a lot of stress from external factors.
So our solution is to create an app that allows users to track their mood, diet, sleep, and other health metrics to take control of their life and develop a healthier lifestyle. Users will upload a selfie and answer a short health questionnaire to create a personal health journal. The app encourages the user to log on their data daily so they can better retain their healthier habits.
So the features that our app includes are camera and selfie upload. So essentially it would let the user upload a selfie directly to the app or take a selfie just through the app itself. It also involves a health questionnaire as mentioned before. Every time a user takes or uploads a selfie, they will answer a few questions about their diet, sleep, and such. It will also include a calendar so that the selfies can be accessed, or selfies or questionnaire data can be accessed by date and computer vision to determine health metrics through selfies and such.
So everyone on the team was super helpful in making Carp come to life. So Palvisha, she worked mainly on the camera aspect. So the camera aspect involved gaining access to the user's camera, and then also being able to like take a photo and directly uploading it to our app. And then I worked with Cynthia on the front end of the questionnaire. So this involved aspects such as creating the questions, developing the wellness heuristic in terms of like how much does each question, how many points does each question have. And we also designed like the buttons and the image buttons, which were emojis that we turned into buttons. And then we also implemented bouncy checkbox, which we'll cover a little bit more later on. And then Cynthia worked extensively on the calendar aspect so that the user can track their mood and their mental and physical health over the days that they've been using our app. And then Palvisha, in future iterations, is planning to work on computer vision so that we can do a little bit more with the selfies and give them more personalized feedback.
So the logic behind the survey is that the radio buttons will add up to an overall score that will be used to determine the user's health metrics and give a corresponding output. So for every survey that is created, the variable overall score will be initialized with 0, and then on button click, the button will return a numeric value that is labeled. And at the end of the survey, when the user clicks save, the overall score will be processed, and depending on what range it falls into, so less than 21, 21, 22 to 27, or 28 to 32, the app will give a corresponding different output depending on how the user has done what the user has done that day. So these scores combined with the daily selfie will be used in the next iteration to implement computer vision.
Can explore a little bit deeper into the front end of our questionnaire. So our main tech stack for the front end involving our questionnaire would be, we use React Native, and we also use Node.js, React Native bouncy checkbox, and also React Native image button text. So if you look at the code on the far right, we can see that we used a lot of different styling for things such as the questions. So when we say questions, we mean like the actual text of the questions. And then we also formatted the emoji buttons, the normal buttons, and we also formatted the submit button. So if you look a little bit closer into each one, like let's say we can look at the questions formatting. So for font size, we increased the font size to 130%. And we also used other formatting options like line weight and color. So for color, we cared a lot about color because we wanted to maintain a consistent color scheme, and we know that color does play a lot into someone's overall perception of any like concept in general. Like an app, color is super important. And for emoji buttons, we used emojis for the image button. So we use flex direction and justify content so that everything would be evenly spaced and that the emoji buttons would be on one nice row. And then if we look at the submit formatting, we used a lot of different aspects, especially for the border. And we also took into consideration background color and other aspects such as justifying the content. And then now, if we look at the left side, so the bouncy checkbox, we can see that we used is not checked, since I think the default when you get bouncy checkbox is it comes with it already checked. So we changed it to is not checked. And they also have other aspects that we copy and pasted multiple times for each of the checkboxes, like text color, fill color, unfilled color. Those we all kept consistent for all the bouncy checkboxes. And then the thing that we changed for each of the checkboxes would be text. And then if you look at the code in the bottom left corner, you see touchable highlight. So we use this for the submit button so that when the person presses submit, the button kind of has like a highlight to it. And we had like different formatting for the text on the button. It's like font size and the color.
Okay, so for the back end, or essentially the camera, I used the Expo image picker package. This was really difficult to find because most of the packages out there to implement camera access and allow the user to crop images and such were geared towards Mac users, but I finally came across this, which I could install on my install through my laptop's so this package allows the user to take images, upload images, as well as crop images that they're uploading or taking, and it works along with Expo Permissions. So what Expo Permissions does is it uses ask async, launch image library async, and launch camera async, and it asks for permission depending on like, no matter what button you press actually. So like whether you are uploading an image or if you are taking a picture right through the app, it asks for permission to access the camera roll or the camera depending on which button you pressed. And then if a permission is given, it would use launch image library async to launch the camera roll if that's what permission was given for, and use launch camera async to launch the camera through the app, assuming that is what permission was given for. And so you can see over here on the code on the far right, there are two functions. One of them is pick from gallery, so that basically allows image uploads from the device gallery, and pick from camera, which allows images to be taken from the camera directly into the app. And so it waits for permission. When permission is given, it launches the camera, or sorry, the image library in this case, and in the case below, it would launch the camera. And so I created two buttons for this. This is the general code I used for both buttons on the bottom left here. And this code, the on press values for the functions, just depended on what the button was meant for. So if the button was meant to upload the image from the gallery, then the onPress function would just call the first function up here. And if it was meant to upload images, then the onPress call would call this function down here. And so this is essentially how the front end looked for the camera. And you can see here it allows camera access and also access for the library. And this tech stack was React Native, Node.js, of course, and the image picker package. I'm currently in the process of implementing Firebase so that the images that are uploaded or taken can actually be stored within the app and accessed through the calendar.
So along the way, we had a couple of difficulties. We spent a lot of time on the initial environment setup because all three of us, it was our first time working with React Native. So shout out to Tyler, who helped us tremendously setting up the React Native environment. And we also asked each other and our mentor, Eric, to look over some of our work and for help. As Palvisha touched on earlier, apps developed by iOS can only be run with those by Mac, so it was difficult finding the right module for non-Mac users. And also on the same vein, we had some issues with importing and getting the error modules not found in Node modules. So in order to solve those problems, we reached out to each other and Discord for assistance when needed. And we also stayed persistent in finding alternative solutions to achieve the same result, i.e., figuring out what other modules or packages that would work as well. And we also had some difficulties setting up a system to collaborate on code together virtually. And so we consistently pushed code on GitHub and also used the website Glitch to collaborate simultaneously. So Glitch is kind of like a Google Doc, but for code. And so in general, what we learned is how to develop and add in an agile environment. And we also learned about the planning process behind implementing an app. So for me, I learned about creating the wireframe and also the demos and the importance of creating prototypes and others.
The feature plans for our app are to implement the storage for text and images. So I'm working on on implementing Firebase to save images directly into the app right now. And then we also want to be able to save the results of the questionnaires into the app as well, along with implementing calendar access so that the text and images can actually be stored and then accessed from the the calendar again. And future iterations would also implement the back end for the questionnaire, which actually calculates the score depending on what buttons are pressed by the user, as well as computer vision for the camera to determine metrics such as the stress or mood depending on the selfies. And this would use the information from the questionnaire to test and fit a model in order to do that.
Thank you everyone so much for joining us in our video. And if you'd like to reach out to us, we communicate mainly through email and LinkedIn. So our emails are directly linked here. So Palvisha's is sharmapavisha@gmail.com, and then her LinkedIn is right there. And then mine is vivianyunwang@gmail.com, and my LinkedIn is also there. I would love to connect with you. And then Cynthia's email is also right here. So thank you so much for joining us. And if you have any other questions, you're more than welcome to reach out to us via email. And we look forward to hearing from you soon.